Hey everyone, and welcome to the weekly catch-up podcast. It is the 27th installment of our humble little show. It is Wednesday, April 8th, 2020, the year that is canceled. I'm your host, Carson Gibbons, and as always, I'm joined by my good friend, Mr. B-Rad Colvin.
Yeah, man, that'd be me.
What's up?
Tired.
Why? Why are you
Just
tired?
kidding. I've been
Don't
sleeping.
even.
I've been sleeping more than ever.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you still have to get up at the same time, right?
No, because we don't have staff meetings in the morning anymore. So, yeah.
I gotcha. All right, well,
yeah.
We're, fourth week of coronavirus shutdown, shelter in place. So we're going to do our best to bring you the news and brighten your days a little bit.
I'm sure you guys have all been watching it along with us.
Yeah, we're here to tell you something new. So you ready to get into it?
Let's get it.
It's the weekly catch-up with Carson and Brad. Here to talk about the week we done had. It could be sports, religion, politics, we keeping the tabs. You would think they work for Gucci, how they deep in they bag. Get your facts up. On Wednesday we'll be counting the stats up. So turn the volume up till it's maxed up. You know the drill. So tell a friend to relax up and chill. We back up. This is the weekly catch-up.
Alrighty, thank you to Mr. David Mwansa for our wonderful intro.
Yeah, the psalmist.
What's going on, dude?
Man, more of the same, I guess.
Okay, so you're teaching remote.
Yeah. You seemed a little curious about me not having to go into work as early. So typically, I mean, we have meetings in the morning, and then my first class starts at 7:45. But we actually even pushed back when our first period starts, and it doesn't start until 8:30. So I've been able to sleep in like an extra hour every day.
Well, when you think about it, like, why not? Since the day is already shortened as it is, like, let's throw the whole rule book out.
Right.
This is so weird. Like,
it is.
It sounds like you guys are handling it really professionally, especially you in your classroom, because I've talked to some other teachers this week that shall remain unnamed, but good friends of the show. And they're like, yeah, we're just trying. It's already hard enough on these kids as it is. So we're trying to just basically assign no work or no homework, or I don't know how it works.
Yeah, I mean, it is
that
person's not wrong.
It is definitely hard. Like, I see certain teachers that they're educating remotely. Like, it looks like too much, like I've been really impressed with how Grizz has acclimated to it. Like, she's been on Zoom all day teaching these kids, quarantined, and not a negative peep out of her. It's really strange. So I was golfing on Sunday, and I missed some text messages from Shelly, and they were from like 11 a.m.
Yeah.
And it was like, hey, Zoom brunch, everyone. And so then when I was done golfing at 7 p.m., I had a text message from her, and I was like, are y'all still on the thing? And she sent me a link, and I go into this room on Zoom, and everybody is just, they've had a fun day, right? Yeah. So they have been on the Zoom. You know how we used to brunch for like 8 hours at a time?
Yeah.
They'd been brunching on Zoom for 8 hours, like from 11
to
7 p.m. And they were still going.
That's awesome.
They were all comparing puzzles. Like, that. We were doing a marketing meeting earlier today, and my boss was looking up puzzles and like Google search historical trends, and like it's at 100 right now.
Dang.
We were on a Zoom with John and Sarah and Michael and Shelly the other night.
Yeah.
And both of them actively had puzzles going, and I was just like, leave meeting.
Dude, yeah, I haven't jumped on the puzzle game.
No, screw puzzles, dude. I hate those things.
My schedule is more or less the same. I don't know. I guess I'm ending
It's not
a
the same
early.
at all. We just covered that. So what are you doing with your time, bro?
Working.
Where you been?
I'm still working.
Working doing what?
I am.
What'd you do since 1
I
o'clock
am
this
lesson
afternoon?
planning and teaching. Huh?
What'd you do since 1 o'clock this afternoon?
Since 1 o'clock, I got done with a staff meeting around 1:30, and then I went to go see my girlfriend.
Okay, hard day.
It was a hard day.
Stoked to have Courtney's actually here in the green room. It's good to see her. She came in and I was like, "What's up, new neighbor?" Kind of. She's a DFW resident now.
Yeah, she's officially moved back, and she begins her shifts on Monday.
Yeah.
Cook children.
She came up on the Zoom call that we were having the other night because Sarah also works at Cook's.
Yes.
She's a PA or an MP, one of those things. And so I had been wondering if Courtney was a kid nurse, and then I realized that on this call that Cook's, she has to be a kid nurse now
at
because
Cook's, yes.
Cook's is all children's.
Yeah, she was dealing with a lot of older type of patients before, and now strictly the kids.
And that was her goal.
Yeah, that's like this is like her dream job for now. I mean, she wants to continue on.
You undersold this on the show then, because that's a big move to a big hospital in a larger market. It puts her close to you. So I know that personally it's like check. Yeah. But I didn't realize that like her longer term career goals were so reinforced by this move.
Yes.
And you just see things differently.
No, I'm like super thrilled for her, but a lot of times whenever I talk about her, I also feel like I'm kind of like, I don't know. I just don't like talking about I don't like getting super hype about my personal life, and because I'm so hype about it. Yeah.
Well,
is that not true?
No, I see your point. In knowing you, I know what you're talking about. However, even dialed down, we know you're mad about this girl.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
it's evident.
Yeah.
So Mazel, congrats. Yeah, happy Passover to all the Jewish listeners.
Yeah, dude. Oh, hey, I might come across as a hypocrite this weekend.
No. I've never seen you do anything hypocritical.
I know, right? Shut up. Okay.
Especially on a weekend.
But I will defend my ground. Okay. But you're gonna get a kick out of it, and just know that I'm bringing this to the table so you can make your jokes like you do.
Oh, you're gonna give me an alley and I'm gonna oop it?
Uh-huh. So you know how I gave a really hard time to those celebrities that were singing?
What'd you do?
Oh, my dear friend Carla de Chavez, who's like my mentor. Like I just really look up to her and her husband. I would volunteer with her at my church and everything, and she used to be the event coordinator for the young adult group there, and then I was the event coordinator for a year after her, and she kind of like
for YG,
and she like passed me the torch and everything. And this week she asked if, since there's no church service, they're not going to be able to do like an Easter type of thing. So she asked if she's wanting a bunch of church members to send in like a clip of them singing. Mm-hmm. And so I sent in, she gave me specific lyrics to sing, and she's going to clip them in with the other people singing different portions of the song. Brad. So I know, dude.
Brad.
But I feel different about it.
Oh, do you?
Because we're like, I'm a man of the people. No, it's not even really about that.
Wait, but you have I'm a man of the people than Gal Gadot does.
But it was more like, hey, like from her and all of them, it was more like, hey, we're all in this together while she's sipping.
If you think that you had this reaction from Carla de Chavez texting you, what reaction would you have had if Gal Gadot texted you and said, hey, I'm putting together this thing. It's not for church, but could you sing for it? You think you might?
Maybe.
You think you might, just to be able to text Gal Gadot back? I would. You don't have to answer that. You're fine.
Yeah.
Well, that's beautiful, man. Speaking of which, did you see Oakwood's virtual choir?
Yeah, man.
Oh my
They're
goodness.
Incredible.
That was insane. It's like,
yeah.
Had y'all been doing this before COVID?
Right.
Like, y'all are so professional. For those that don't know what we're talking about, Brad and I are, we are culturally Seventh-day Adventist. I think Brad is more of a practicer than I am, but I'll claim it. Like, I don't know. I mean, if you've heard me on any previous episode, you're like, yeah, he doesn't claim it. But I very much identify with that culture, and we're talking about a historically Black college and kind of what is it? It's a mecca. It's not a mecca. Oakwood University is like a HBCU for Adventists, and they had their flagship church this last weekend. This got shared on Facebook, had a lot of views, but they had just this huge panel screen that they displayed everybody that had called in through Skype or Zoom or whatever, And so they had all the faces. It looked like a Fox News or CNN presentation.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And they were filming, the church crew was filming the big leaderboard with all of the people virtually singing and the choir director in front of them. Like, it was all choreographed so perfectly, and they sounded good somehow. I was like, how is this happening?
Like, how is nobody lagging? Or
no, like, it was incredible. Everybody in that choir has a great voice and a great internet connection.
Yeah, so well done, Oakwood. Man.
Yeah, like, shout out to Oakwood. That was insane.
Yeah, I guess we need to start highlighting like a bunch of the other.
Dude, I played golf with
universities.
I played golf with this guy. So I played like almost 72 holes this weekend. I was just going crazy.
Yeah.
Played like 27 Saturday, and then Scott and I played like 40 something on Sunday. And he took me to the cleaners, unfortunately.
Dang.
New handicap system. We've renegotiated again. We can talk more about that later or never. But we played this first round with this guy. We just had this like third guy in the threesome paired up with us. And I was like, he was like, where do you live? Where are you coming from? And I said, oh, I'm Dallas. And we were in Glen Rose, down in your neck of the woods.
Yeah.
And I was like, where do you live? And he goes, oh, Cleburne. And I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, I went to college in Keene. And he goes, oh, yeah? Southwestern Adventist University? And I said, yes. I'm like, why? He's like, I'm an Adventist pastor. And we were both like, expletive. Because, I miss a shot, and sometimes a frog or snake will come out of my mouth, but, not every time, but sometimes. Sometimes really loud. I putted a ball off a green into a lake the other day. I was so upset. And I actually got great air on it. Like, Scott goes, that was a pretty great hit with a putter.
Which, like, made it worse.
No. I was playing with this red Volvic ball, and that ball was doing me so dirty. So there was a, nice pond next to the green. It was a greenside pond. So when I missed that last putt, I just kind of reared up on it and got about 60 yards of apex on this joint. And, that ball is history.
Nice.
So went back to the ball that was not screwing me over.
Did you figure out where this pastor, what
so
church he's from?
He's one of the cowboy churches. I immediately was like, so how well do you know my people? Like, do you know? And so he mentioned Cowboy Church. So I asked him if he knew my grandmother by name.
Okay.
And because she goes to one of them, Scott's mother has gone to a variety of these cowboy churches down in Johnson County. So it turns out he was fresh off the boat from Missouri, it sounded like. And he had been here for about 6 months. So he wasn't all up on, the Adventist royalty that I am.
He's got a lot to learn.
I'm like, do you know who my family is?
Yeah, if he doesn't know who we are.
I'm like, we built this town.
Yeah, we're the bad boys of Adventism.
My grandparents were the committee of 100. That's not even a joke.
I know.
That's just the real thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, I ate in their calf every day. So anyway, we found out that we couldn't goof off because we were with a man of the cloth, as they say. And then, you know what this a-hole did? He proceeded to shoot like a 70. Like, this Adventist pastor could have gone on the Champions Tour. He was insane and competitive, and like, he immediately got Scott's goat. Scott was like, man, I'm gonna crush this pastor. Like, I'm not gonna let him beat me. And so this guy, like, you should have seen his reaction when he got a double bogey. Like, I told him, I said, hey man, if there's one thing I know about Adventist pastors, they're not great golfers and gamblers. What's going on? He goes, I picked this up in my BC days.
Before Christ.
I was like, wow, this guy.
Oh, yeah, your tithe dollars at work.
Oh, and he was like, dude, he showed up looking like Rory or somebody. Like, he had on all the gear, like nice spandex workout Under Armour golf shirt underneath the golf shirt, like beautiful set of clubs. He was ready to go, and he parred or birdied just about every hole in that golf course.
Dang.
So he was legit.
That's great.
So maybe I'll look him up and go to a cowboy church. Just be like, yeehaw.
Yeah.
Why did we get on that? So going back to your hypocrisy,
Oh yeah.
So I can't wait for the show to tweet out the video once it's done. Oh, I can't wait. Oh, I hope somebody that is a listener has like mad video editing skills and they can do like a whole reaction.
And the purpose of this video wasn't for like, hey, we're all in this together. No, it's just an Easter video because, you can't come to church for Easter. So I don't think it's going to make a difference in the world is what I'm trying to say.
Whoa, dude. Whoa. You're saying
It'll
that
just
your
be a
voice
nice
lifted high for the Lord doesn't make a difference in life?
No, I probably sound. I haven't heard the rest of the people that are going to be in it, but I probably sound the worst on it.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm chilling.
We're not talking about quality here. We're talking about the fact that you did it.
Yes, but the intentions behind it were different.
Which were to, foster a deeper relationship with Carla, essentially.
No, I'm already like super tight with them.
I know, but you want to remain tight. And it's harder as you get older.
I've turned her down because she's wanted me to do like announcements at church and stuff. I can say no.
You made it sound like if she hadn't asked you that this would have never been on your radar.
That is also true.
All right. Well,
yeah.
All right. Have your cake and eat it too, B-Rad.
Will do, man.
What other notes you got?
Bernie.
Oh yeah, that happened today.
Yeah.
What how anticlimactic.
We are no longer feeling the burn. The burn has healed.
There's actually a lot to unpack with that because, apparently he refused to give up his delegates or something like that.
Yeah.
I guess he's going to fall in line with Biden, but maybe not. There's a lot to kind of get into with the implications that this has on Biden and the fact that multiple stories have surfaced and resurfaced about Biden in this coronavirus heavy coverage that we're going to talk about tonight.
Didn't the polls open again
in certain states?
Yeah, on Tuesday. When was it? Yesterday? Was it just yesterday or Monday?
Did Wisconsin vote yesterday?
I think so, but I know a bunch of
primaries going on.
A bunch of people are upset because it's like, well, he waited until after they went and put in their ballot. In some states, if your candidate drops out, you don't have the opportunity to go vote again.
I'll say this, I'm not a fan of a lot of Bernie's policies, but I'm a fan of Bernie in many ways.
Yeah.
As weird as that is. I think he believes what he's talking about. And on its face, were you to redesign the system, forget about the Constitution and, all this rhetoric. I am not for socialism as a whole. I believe that markets drive the best value for the best products for consumers. And if you want innovation, if you want advancements in medicine and technology, you need to have a free market. That goes without saying. However, if I were to redesign, the government taking in dollars and then spending dollars on our behalf, which is essentially what happens, would you include more dollars for healthcare and the reduction of the middleman in that system? That all makes sense to me. It makes just engineering sense when you boil it down to little boxes in a coggle. That being said, if I'm Bernie, in many ways, I'm kind of ticked off again because they totally rigged it blatantly. They were exposed in 2016, Donna Brazell and who was the Debbie Wasserman Schultz, the DNC chair, how she was conspiring via email with all these different people, and they had anti-Semitic remarks in these emails, all sorts of different things. People didn't want Bernie to be the lead choice because he's a democratic socialist. And in some ways, certain people didn't like the fact that he was Jewish either. They made a big deal. This would be the first Jewish nominee or president or whatever. And it's our generation, we don't think about, we don't care.
Past that. Yeah.
The fact that
that's
Pete
not even
was
on our
gay,
radar.
it was cool.
Yeah.
That.
It wasn't a huge.
We don't really even think about it, it's not even highlighting the fact that he's the first gay candidate or whatever it is. It's dude, who cares? He's a human. He's an American. We're looking at his resume. The fact that he was in Afghanistan and Harvard and the mayor of South, all of those things meant something, not the fact that he was gay.
No.
So anyway, but if I'm him, I'm a little PO'd on multiple fronts. First of all, I think that his campaign on the Democratic side, I've held this opinion a long time, it was the only one that had the type of fervor and ardent support of young people and a multi-generational, multiracial coalition that spanned the nation that were on fire. Like he was the only one with an army of Bernie bros to combat Trump's MAGA army. That and the fact that he clearly stated like the momentum that his campaign was generating before all those people fell in line behind Biden before the Texas primaries that Tuesday or that Monday night when Buttigieg and O'Rourke, Beto, and Klobuchar, they all got behind him. He's been riding high ever since then.
Right.
And they basically received no coverage in the mainstream media because of coronavirus. Like coronavirus has been wall to wall. And so he couldn't, without the ability to have rallies and have coverage of said rallies and tweets about said rallies. It's funny how DOA those campaigns kind of became just because they were no longer the front runner news. But I mean, and there's other tangents that we're going to go into off of this, but Biden is not all there.
No.
And if I'm Bernie, we all know that cognitively, Bernie's all there.
Yes.
You know, he's a crotchety old man.
Yeah, you may not agree with him on a lot of topics.
I love the Larry David.
He's very clear.
You know, portrayal of him and how he's just, I do this. Like, my favorite memes are like, what does he say? Like, may I remind you, or once again, I am asking that, you know, you quit buying all the toilet paper. Like, they have a bunch of variations, but it's hilarious. And I love him. But he is the only cognitive, like, surefire thing that was still running on the Democratic ticket.
Yeah. Hey, do you think if Warren had backed him instead of Biden, do you think that it would have been the same outcome?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's what I had assumed too. But,
has she still been on the sidelines?
No, she just kind of voiced her opinion and said that, you know, she'd be backing Biden, I believe, and then
really, I didn't.
I thought, okay, please don't quote me on that because,
well, you know what's crazy is that none of it really matters because I don't like Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah, I know. Does this solidify Trump?
Oh yeah. Oh, like it's over. Like it's been over. And I want to talk more about that because they asked him the other day. Biden had tweeted something out. Biden's account had tweeted something out, and they asked him during one of the coronavirus like task force updates. They were like, Biden just said this about your response to this, and Trump just very dismissingly said, Biden didn't tweet that. He's like, a Democratic operative tweeted that on his behalf. One of his team members did. He said, Biden's not there. Yeah. He's like, Biden's probably not even watching this. We don't know where Biden is. Biden's off, like, you know, he didn't even feel the need to slam him, really. It was more like, he's like, you think Biden is actually the one reading these things and making these things up? Like,
it's like brushing the fly off your shoulder.
Well, everybody's criticized his poop tweets at 6 a.m. Eastern, you know, for 3 years. And at the same time, that played, you know, like that was a moment of authenticity where it was like, wow, well, there are misspellings and he trolls people, but you know it's him. Right. You know it's his fat fingers on those on those keys, you know? Yeah. You know he is pushing out a log. So
what did you think about him getting on to, was he getting on to who, or maybe somebody else, but he was blaming somebody else for not knowing about the coronavirus, because remember whenever it had first started, he was kind of playing it off like it wasn't a huge deal, and now he's trying to shift blame and saying, oh, they should have told me it was going to be this bad.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've seen propaganda coming out of the Trump machine about, you know, send China the bill, blah, blah, blah. But there's so many reports, like they say that the Intel committee or community informed the White House of this potential as early as November of last year, which I got to tell you, multiple viewpoints on this.
Yes, please.
Especially if you're watching like a CNN or definitely an MSNBC, unfortunately, you know, he can't do anything right.
Yeah.
Like he's just never going to please them. And they've rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, because even people that are not pro-Trump are kind of like, man, will you give it a break at some point? Like, quit trying to catch him in something. Quit, you know. That being said,
try to look at it more objectively.
Has Trump mishandled this, like with his language, with his sequential timing of like all the, of course, you know, like he's not, this is why he had Mike Pence and then subsequently, I guess Kushner's over this now, which there was a whole big thing about that. But Trump is not the guy that is supposed to hold your hand through this. Like, he's just, that's like asking, you know, a high-prized salesperson to go be like some babysitter somewhere and like be chained to a desk, or it's not a role fit. Now, granted, the presidency is like far too big a role for any one person to fill.
Yeah.
And it's kind of ridiculous that there's one person that it comes down to
for all those expectations.
But, you know, it goes back to what we were talking about last week, where it was like, he wanted to be reopened for the economy by Easter, and somebody was having to defend that. And he was saying, well, that is the president's goal. Like, all things being equal, would the president like the economy to be backfiring on all cylinders as soon as possible? Of course, you know, but if he ever presents anything in like a optimistic way, like with the new drugs, or, you know, we've been doing this like very rapidly, or, you know, we've helped this, you know, he's not allowed to tout anything that he's done. He's only supposed to be like apologetic and frightful about this and like inform the American people. And, you know, it's not a personality fit. I get that. There's been things that he's said and done that it's like, whoa, you actually could see it in like a documentary of the beginning of like a tyrannical reign, for instance, like when he cut Dr. Fauci off with, you don't need to answer the question about being optimistic about this particular drug. I recognized that as a guy that is looking out for somebody else in his administration that feels frustrated by the fact that they've been questioning him up and down about this one thing. And he's like, I'm not a doctor, but I've heard good things about this. Like, certain people's symptoms have been alleviated by doing X, Y, or Z. And then he was trying to protect Fauci, but at the same time, that was not appropriate, because the doctor needs to be talking about it. You know, the infectious disease specialist needs to be talking about it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Trump is qualified to sell the big bad American dream so that the stock market roars and consumer confidence skyrockets and we have a booming economy. That's why Trump is there. That's why people sent Trump to Washington. You know, I personally think he's absolutely hilarious. I love half the stuff that he does because it's just a spectacle every day.
Yeah.
It's like we have coronavirus every day of the year. It's kind of fun.
I guess.
I like the world ending all the time, to be honest. I'm a big fan.
Why is that?
I don't know. Wouldn't that be great? Nobody else has gotten to see that?
Nah, I don't need to see it.
Why not, man? If your faith is wrapped up in our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, then you're good to go.
Then I have all the time in the world once I die of old age.
Yeah.
I'm still chilling here.
All right. Well, I mean, I didn't say that you die in the end of the world, but to watch it unfold, we don't know how long it'll take.
All right.
The point being, there's more stuff that I wanted to talk about with Biden, Trump, Bernie, because Joe Rogan got into some supreme doo-doo this last week because he was on a podcast with, I think it was Greg Fitzsimmons, another comedian, which on the comedian ones, he smoked a little weed, you know, prior to the show or on the show or both. They have a drink. They're just shooting the wind, as they say.
Yes.
No big deal. And Joe he's been becoming more outspoken about the fact that he really says that Biden has dementia, that he is cognitively impaired, and that this is cruel on the part of the DNC to do this to an old man who needs assistance. Like, he's been very blunt about this. And he goes, this is ridiculous. I mean, I would vote for Trump over Biden. And the media picked up on that. Yeah. And I saw that whenever Rogan trends on Twitter, I always think like they're about to take away the one, you know, truthful North Star that we have left in this thought leadership media game, because his show is unrivaled. It's the greatest source of information that the world has ever known in an entertainment format. Yeah. In terms of its reach, like the people that he talks to, he's interviewed Bernie, you know? So case in point, he got into so much doo-doo over that, and he clarified on a later podcast a couple of days later. I think it was with was it with I can't remember, doesn't matter. He was simply making the point that he said, I would vote for, you know, Bozo the Clown over Biden. He's like, if I voted for Trump over Biden, I'm simply making the comment that I had the ability to vote for somebody who is cognitively all there, though flawed, versus somebody who is not with all of their cognitive wherewithal.
Yeah.
And he really doubled down on like Biden has dementia, Biden is impaired, this is cruel. He really paints him almost as a victim, like almost a Manchurian candidate that's being used for his name in association with a very successful Democratic president in Obama. And they're just like pushing the skeleton out there. And so trending on Twitter, there's just all these videos of like, I don't know if you saw this last one, but like his sentences don't make any sense anymore.
They
just, I made the comment a couple of podcasts ago about how he had won that debate and he was really with it. They must have propped him up on whatever medication he had going on that day, but he is ill-equipped to go up against Trump.
Yeah.
Because Trump is on uppers and he's an a-hole to begin with, and
he's gonna eat him alive.
He's gonna screw him up.
Yeah.
Eat him up. So anyway, Rogan was listing this as one of the tenets of liberalism that he is so frustrated with. Like, he classifies himself as definitely like a classical liberal, but with that, he says freedom of speech is paramount, and this deplatforming and like, people coming after him. I saw Bakari Sellers was tweeting, when we told you about Joe Rogan, you scolded us.
Yeah.
And I was like, shut up, Bakari. Like, who cares what you think about anything?
Yeah, man.
Rogan has done so much more for the world than Bakari Sellers has. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, he's a true American success story that can talk to anybody and does. I'm so sick of like this sound snippet, economy of words, media fragmentation era that we're in. It's
I mean, that's like one of the early I guess one of the first episodes that we did or whatever, one of the first ones, that's like the first big rant I went on was the cancel culture and, not being able to speak freely without worrying who's going to come at you and try to get you off your platform.
So yes, this does cement things for Biden. And so I assume that some of these stories are going to continue, but I don't know if you saw this. The mainstream media refused to pick this up, but have you seen that 8 women have come forward accusing Joe Biden of rape or sexual assault of some sort?
I've not.
Well, that happened. It literally, like a couple weeks into coronavirus, it was trending on Twitter, and I was like, these Democrats just like, it's like such a circular firing squad. Like, why is this breaking? Like, it's just like, hey, I know that no presidential candidate has raped somebody in a while, so here you go. Like, it just felt like meat being thrown in front of a tiger in Wynnewood, Oklahoma.
Tiger King, baby.
Just so silly.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he'll plead Alzheimer's or something.
I don't know. I mean, we know he's a toucher and a smeller for sure. But
I mean, yeah, he was touchy with Obama. He would always be like rubbing Obama's shoulders, dude. He's touching everyone. Oh, that's crazy.
Well, we're gonna get 4 more years.
Yeah, probably. You want the first must heard of the day? Keeping it political.
We got multiple. Well, look at you leaning into politics this week. What?
Oh, you're gonna instantly realize. You know who Linda Tripp is?
No.
Linda Tripp, the whistleblower in the Clinton-Lewinsky scandal, has died at 70 from pancreatic cancer. Happened today.
She tripped and fell on some evidence, huh?
Yeah.
So, how was she aware of this occurring?
I don't know, man. I just give you the headlines. You're supposed to know these things.
Yeah, I'm like, I know exactly every whistleblower. Linda Tripp. Yeah. Did she leave behind a family, potentially a spouse?
I don't know, man. Keep making jokes. Hold on.
Keep making jokes. Keep riffing. Linda Tripp.
Yeah. So her death was confirmed by her son Ryan.
Ryan Tripp.
Yeah. She had worked as the White House secretary during the administration of President George H.W. Bush and stayed on for 2 years of the Clinton presidency. She later told a grand jury that she was troubled by the president's behavior toward women.
She was like, he's tripping.
Yeah. After she was transferred to the Pentagon, Miss Tripp befriended Lewinsky, a former White House intern who confided that she had a sexual relationship with Clinton while he was president. This is our girl.
Oh, yeah. Well, she was probably upset that she wasn't getting hit on by Clinton.
That he didn't choose her.
Oh, that one's going to get us
talking of cancel culture.
So much doo-doo.
Us?
Yeah.
No.
We just made a joke. About
you keep using plural.
Tripp's appearance.
I just showed you a picture of her. I said nothing.
You knew what you were doing.
Nope.
She's a homely woman. And now she's dead. So R.I.P. Shout out to Linda Tripp.
Shout out to Linda Tripp.
Way to
blow that whistle.
Yeah. Way to blow the whistle about blowing the whistle.
Walked into that one.
Well, she tripped on a stain, apparently. Man, could you get us off this topic? This must-heard? Get us some ketchup on these tots.
Haven't you noticed that all of my must-heards kind of lead us down that rabbit hole?
The owner of Pink Taco found a stain on a dress today.
Wuhan lifts its 76-day lockdown.
Dude, did you see how many people got out of there today on train? They had all these trains lined up. They had 76,000 people that immediately left. Some of them had been quarantined in apartments for 80 consecutive days.
What's the first thing that you are going to do once our lockdown is up?
I can't say that on the air. Okay. Come on, man.
Well, now we have an idea.
No, you don't. That's a broad category. Man, I'm just going to go hug strangers in the street or something.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I'll be like, lick my ear. No, I'm playing.
Okay, you can go hang out with Biden, buddy.
Yeah. Be like, feel my leg hair in the pool. Well, that's a direct Biden quote, actually. Oh. I feel like we could play that game like, did Biden say it or did Bill Maher make it up? Like, seriously, what am I going to do? I'm going to go to work, man. And then I'm going to go to happy hour at a bar. And then I'm going to go to a restaurant for dinner.
Dude, I'm chips and salsa, man. I want to sit down in a booth and just go.
I'm going to go to El Phoenix with you.
Yes.
We can't go to Camposanos anymore, dude. That's the saddest loss of them all in this whole tragedy. So let's talk about it real quick.
People have died.
Yeah, I know, but not as many as we were expecting. So let's talk about that. Like, we're flattening the curve.
Yes.
Today, they revised their estimate from 100 to 240,000 Americans dying to 60,000 dying.
That's great.
By August 4th. So can we get back to normal?
So can we ramp this thing back up?
I'm like 60,000. I'll take my chances.
Pass the salsa, buddy.
I was hoping for more. I was hoping for a healthier herd thinning. No, I'm playing people.
You wanted less traffic coming home from work.
Seriously, I'm like, maybe I can move into that nice apartment down the street and it'll be cheaper rent than prior to COVID. Like, no, you know what they said though?
What's that?
They were like, we didn't actually expect Americans to comply with social distancing.
Oh, wow.
And stay at home. They said we anticipated like maybe 50% would comply.
Yeah.
And that not 100% of us would be sheep.
Look at us.
So,
yeah,
that happened today.
Cool, man. What else you got?
Well, I'm not done talking about that.
Oh, okay.
I thought you might contribute to the conversation.
No. I wanted to see where you were going with it.
Oh, no, I was just ranting about how that was the latest news.
Yeah.
I've been working, so I've been talking to people with budget freezes and other people that are trying to get a move on in the sales cycle, and been having some interesting Zoom calls.
Is that right?
Yeah, like
interesting in what way? This can go many ways.
Dude, I feel like I could write like a modern era
Zoom
romance
tell-all.
novel.
Oh, yeah, like cyber romance.
A cyber romance novel after this is all said and done, because we've all been to like work parties and team happy hours or association happy hours. Or
when you say we all have, I work for the Adventists.
All right.
So
or you've ever developed a crush on a coworker?
I've been on the outside looking in.
Another.
All of my coworkers have been like 50.
Okay. Have you ever gone to was there any hot girls at technology trip that were you to be single you might have hollered at? Like,
sure.
Okay. In the business world, you have clients, you have partners, you have vendors, you have colleagues, you have, contractors. There's a lot of people that you come into contact with.
Yeah.
And, historically, I've had girlfriends that I've formed through work relationships.
Okay.
Whether it be in the same company at a different branch or through associations or clients or whatever,
Close that deal.
Okay. Stop that.
All right, buddy. I see how you work.
That was my alley to your
appreciate you.
Appreciate you. So, so in my current role, I'm director of sales, and I pitch to a lot of people in the HR category. And many of those people happen to be women. And, whether I was in advertising or PR or any of those fields, they've been female dominated for sure. And some of these Zoom calls have just been interesting because it's like everybody's at home and their hair's a little bit more down, if you will. And I had this one Zoom call. It was a second call with a client or a potential client. And it was kind of more of a person whose job title and status in the organization would lead me to believe that we were akin in age, but I'd never seen this person. We'd had an audio call, and then I was on video for a demo, and said person had said, I'm not going to be on. A lot of times they apologize, like, I'm not going to be on video. I'm not done up today, or I'm sick, or whatever the case may be. And she goes, I promise I'm fully dressed. I'm in bed because I hurt my leg. And I was like, okay,
that's a lot of information.
Yeah, I was like, I basically changed. I'm like, hey, cool. Do you want to see this demo? You want to talk about some software?
She's like, do you want to see this?
So I'm like, okay, that's interesting. She's just a nice girl.
Yeah.
And
they all are.
So we're like, shut up. You are the worst.
You want to see this demo?
Stop. Oh my gosh. Your comfort level on this show is just expanded week over week.
I'm trying to hit, that little, like 5 to 10 minute mark we hit at the end of the show. I'm just trying to bring that to the forefront.
Yeah. Well, that spot is now reserved for only our poop talks.
All right. So back to this, sexy Zoom call.
Well, I hadn't said that it had become sexy.
She's up here she's propping her leg up on a pillow.
Something is happening. And so I go through this demo and we're having a conversation. And at some point in the call, she just kind of goes, she's talking about our follow-up call and how she'll be bringing in this other girl. And I promise, like, I'll be more presentable. And then she's like, oh, you can't see me.
She's bringing in another girl.
Yeah. Stop. You are.
Come on, dude.
I'm talking about a sales cycle here.
Is it still what are you selling?
Employee recognition software.
Okay. All right.
So, and I'm remaining focused on that because I'm not
you are a professional.
I'm not a creep. I'm especially initially, I'm like the antithesis of that. Like I try to keep it very professional.
I believe
so anyway, finally she's like, oh, whatever. Let me say hi real quick. And I'm like, okay. And boom, she pops up on the screen. And she's in bed, and she is gorgeous, like totally done up, but in bed, like literally has the eye mask like hanging off of the bedpost type deal.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, cool. Now I can see you. Great. We continued the conversation, and it was super weird. So then a third time in the call, like as we're wrapping, she's like, I promise next time I'll be more presentable. Like, I'm just in this dumb old t-shirt right now. And I'm like, what are you doing? What's going on right now?
Oh man,
and so I've had some of these situations where it's like, I have wondered and I want to hear, like, I don't know what to Google, but I want to hear about these Zoom calls that have gotten hot.
Yeah, be careful with what you Google.
Not
don't do it on a work laptop.
Well, my main point is, we all know the guy that like went to the work happy hour, the team Christmas party, and made out with the HR lady or whatever happened.
Yeah.
My point is,
How many of these girls' legs are hurting and they're laying in bed?
Okay. I want to know about somebody who just has been approached or propositioned on one of these sales calls, or like let's go into a breakout room, or I don't know. I don't even know what I'm saying because this is all new to us. Like granted, I do all my calls through Zoom pretty much, whether I'm in office or not, but most of these clients that I'm calling on are always in the office.
They're there.
And so now they're all at home. So I've seen more VP of HR's couches and children and dogs and living rooms and home offices than I care to even describe. But this was the first one where like the fact that she was in bed was such a pronounced deal in her mind. It was like, and then I just didn't know the bait and switch with like, here's all the excuses why I'm not on camera. And then I never ask anybody to go on camera ever.
Right.
Like that's not the point. Like I never even bring it up. I'm just always on camera because I feel like you're going to relate to me more and I'm going to build a better relationship with you where I can determine your needs better.
Yeah, that makes sense.
If you can see my face and preferably if I can see yours, but I'm not asking anybody.
Right.
You know, I purposefully have my settings set up to where it's like it doesn't launch your video if you don't want it to.
Right. Yeah.
So
is there going to be another meeting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll have updates.
All right. Yeah.
I mean, what next? Her arm's going to be hurting and she's going to have to prop up the camera
I don't know.
At a different angle.
Shut up. Yeah, no, I've just wondered, like, with Zoom bombing, it's like, what if there is, and this would probably be more for the guys than the girls even. Like, I could see a guy being in a more compromising position on a Zoom call than a girl, but it's not been my experience last.
Yeah.
So that was just a fun little story. I don't know why I told that.
No, I think that's interesting. I think it. Yeah, I want to see some. I want somebody to crunch the numbers.
Well, I just want to see successful... like a Reddit thread where guys are describing weird Zoom calls, like Zoom conquests almost. Because
I think we have some homework. I don't think this is the end of this conversation.
Well, no, and I have so many plot lines now for like this really steamy graphic novel.
Oh, Netflix.
COVID era, like yeah. It could be Zoom and Boom.
Oh,
an 8-part miniseries where I'm like, I will never financially recover from this.
Tiger King.
Oh man. So our Twitter got so much engagement this week because
shout out Alec.
We'll get to Alec. First of all, Heston was I love how I put him on blast and then he's like tweeting his clarifications, which I totally agreed with on retrospect. So shout out Heston. I know I put you on blast in nothing but love, but
and I stayed silent. For those that aren't on Twitter, Heston even added me because he was worried that like I felt a type of way about him saying that everybody needs to stay inside. But once he clarified and everything, like I kind of just stayed silent last week because I felt a little guilty about being here after him saying that we all need to stay home.
Yeah, and I'd put him on blast because our buddy Heston had basically said, when do we start socially shaming people that aren't social distancing? And I'd put him on blast on the podcast last week, just in love, because I was like, easy for you to say because you're in the mountains.
Yeah.
And I'd made the mandate that if you have a second home or live in the mountains or somewhere tropical, you don't get to comment on the plight of people in the cities, the urban, mega centers of the country. He then clarified that somebody that was a degree of separation from him had been essentially going to like raucous parties and big gatherings and then going directly to like an 84-year-old relative, their bedside. And I was like, oh, okay. I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah. From 100%. That mindset, definitely.
So shout out to him. He tweeted the show.
Yeah. But and before we jump off of that, I just want to say, if we ever do give any of our friends or family a hard time on here, it's all out of love. Like you guys hear Carson and I kind of digging at each other here and there, but that's just because we feel comfortable around each other.
Well, and if I don't make fun of you, I don't like you.
Exactly.
The people that I love, I make a lot of fun of.
Yes. So
because it's fun.
So you love me a lot.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but
and you.
there has to be a little bit of roasting going on, and
yeah.
I enjoy it as well.
We watch like so much comedy, and all that. Like,
I mean,
that's our love language, man.
Yeah, like when somebody gets one over on me that's also like well done.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm the first person to laugh and just kind of like I'll just bask in it for a second. I'm like, yeah, you really did that just now. But yeah, shout out to Alec. Multiple threads about this. So he tweeted the show that he hadn't been listening in a while. To be honest, I haven't been listening, but I just got caught back up or something. And this RAM.
And he took a picture of the inside of his RAM, and he had our podcast playing through his radio. And then he also took a picture of his nice 2020 RAM.
So, yeah, that beautiful truck. Shout out Alec. That means that he listened to like one of the most recent episodes. So why was the old logo?
I saw displayed? That too. I don't know either.
Alec, if you would tweet the show and let us know what platform you were listening to it through.
Yeah, whenever you listen to this in about 5 months, if you with this episode, just let us know if the logo has updated by then.
Yeah, he'll be like, yeah, new logo, new RAM in 6 months. This is the 2022.
Yeah.
So who is Adam G? Is that one of that might be Heston's
I think that was
buddy.
Yeah, he was following Heston because I looked him up.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like I've actually met him. Shout out to him. I wasn't sure if it was somebody else because he's been all over. There's been a lot of like replies and stuff, and normally the stuff that I tweet doesn't get a whole lot of replies.
Yeah, y'all are finally reaching out.
So suddenly a conversation around what constitutes a truck or a pickup ensued. And
I had to do it to him.
Yeah. Did you like what the show tweeted about it?
Did I see it?
I guess not.
What did it say?
I don't even remember.
Okay.
We've had a lot of new countries listening.
Yeah.
We added Ireland and Germany.
Shout out
since the last podcast.
So shout out Brock. You traveling?
Yeah, no.
I'm just kidding.
We know that he's quarantined, so those are real Germans and Irelanders.
Yeah. And then I also tweeted out the poll for how much toilet paper is normal use.
What was that about?
I'm just saying, man. There's a lot of people on my side.
No, okay.
What do you mean no?
1 and 2 weeks. First of all,
okay,
I have really high quality TP in there right now because I had to do Operation Toilet Paper this week, and I had to go across town. My Kroge has not had TP or paper products of any kind.
They can't keep up
with
your
month.
They can't keep up with your butt's demand.
Stop. So I go to Target and I get the only product that they had, which was like thick ply. This stuff cleans you up quick. Like you don't need much. I think I was buying much thinner, cheaper toilet paper, but to go through a roll under quarantine in like 9 days of cheap, thin roll toilet paper is not crazy. Plus, you took multiple craps on that roll.
Yeah.
I know it's not the last 5 minutes of the show, but you tweeted that out, and I was like...
4% voted less than a week. Okay, this is out of 25 votes. 4% was less than a week. 32% said it takes them a week. So let's say 36% is saying it takes them a week or less to get through a roll. Then we have the...
So that's like 1 in 3?
Yeah, and then we have the 64% that's 2 or more weeks.
Okay. Well, 64% of y'all are backed up, and it's gross.
Nah, bro, you got the runs.
No, I mean, I have whatever I have, and I like to keep it lean and mean, son. So I don't have anything in me right now, and that's how I like it. Nothing goes inside me, bro.
Joe Biden. Man.
Okay. Wow. All right. What am I going to do with you?
I don't know.
You're not having you guy, you man.
What's up?
You were just this could easily devolve into Howard Stern at any moment, and I'm waiting for the day that it does. But until then, my mom still listens to this,
tightrope.
And she texts me about this poop conversation every single week.
Yeah?
She tweeted out that I was adopted the other day.
I did see that.
Which is
Was
wrong.
it because of the poop conversation?
Yeah.
That's great.
100%.
Dang, that means she probably disowned me too.
I don't know.
Jan, take us back.
I don't know. She said that she was adopted, and then she texted me about how disappointed she was. I mean, she did it kind of like roastingly. Like, she gives me crap too, you know?
Yeah.
She gives me a lot of crap, and I give
just
her
like you give that toilet.
Okay. You're painting me out to be this crazy BM monster that I'm not. I'm just not. And I'm going to be sitting on this stack of TP for a while.
I believe it, buddy.
So, yeah, you know, if you're still having 2 or 3 a day, then that's great for you. If you're not, which you're not, Brad, I know on average you're having 1.25 BMs a day. That's gross. You need some fiber.
No, probably 2 to 3, but remember, you also tweeted out, like, I had assumed that this is also with taking it. Like, do you use that much at home even whenever you are in the office?
Not at all.
Okay. All right.
And that's why, dude, I feel like Brock is like, should be more my friend than your friend, because
no way.
He is funny as a whip. Like, when he tweeted, are we taking work poops or just home poops? Like, I literally just started laughing. I almost fell out of my chair, and I was like, this guy, after listening to his audio,
he gets it.
And just the way that he talks cracks me up.
Oh yeah,
like a lot.
He's awesome.
Very, very funny.
It's not even a shout out. You're just awesome, Brock. We all love you, man.
I thought that was such funny engagement and a very valid point. So definitely shout out to Brock, because those were all COVID poops.
Oh,
those were no office poops.
They were Corona.
Office has been shut down for weeks.
All right.
They've laid off. It's heartbreaking, man. They've laid off like the majority of their staff so that they could file for unemployment, and they hope to hire them back at a later date. But, you know, their business, they were just getting going. You know, they'd put a lot of capital out.
Who are we talking about?
Hatchways, and I guess the holdings company over that. And I'm not meaning to put their business out there, because I love them. Yeah. Like, the thought of like not being able to work there is like heartbreaking to me. It's horrifying, because you just start to assume this is how life is going to be. And it's the best atmosphere, the best staff, the best concept. I really love it.
Yeah.
So to think that we're going to go back inevitably and things won't be the same, there'll be fewer faces, new face, like that part just blows my mind. It just sucks.
That's tough.
But yeah, all COVID poops. So cheap toilet paper, you go through in 8 or 9 days, I'd say we're fine.
Yeah. All right.
I'd say we're fine.
That's fair.
I'm on a strictly moderated, you know, I say this. Normally I only am trying to take in between like 1,900 and 2,400 calories in a day.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what's happened here in shutdown, but I'm in a solid shoe-in for early onset of diabetes at this point. Like, they're going to take a foot, because I'm having a problem with peanut M&Ms.
Really?
Yeah.
Like you're just munching on them all day?
No. I'm eating an entire share-size bag after dinner.
Like one whole bag?
Yes.
After dinner?
Yes.
What are you eating for dinner?
It's been a lot of Chipotle, which is that's going to be about 1,700 calories.
I thought we were off the toilet talk, but
the other night I ate my entire Chipotle order and an entire normal size bag of nacho cheese Doritos and an entire share size bag of M&Ms.
Is this just out of is everything okay?
Yeah. Okay. I don't know what's going on. The last day, so I ate only meat and potatoes last night.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm gonna go more carnivore at this point, because truth be told, I saw myself like degenerating into my old fat self. Like, especially on Zoom all day, like I was getting this double chin, I was getting the tire around my waist, like
yeah, I don't know what that's like.
And I really, looking at pictures of like last summer when I was golfing 4 afternoons a week with like 100, I was sweating through a shirt, I weighed 160 pounds. Like that's how I like my face and neck to look. Yeah. I like to be 160, 165 when I look chiseled and like a defined chin. I feel like I'm more attractive at that weight. Mm-hmm. But when I get up to, I don't know what I've been the last couple of weeks, but I feel like it's probably been closer to between 175, 185.
Yeah.
And I just, ugh. So when I cut out the carbs and no dessert, which has always been my go-to.
The sweets, dude.
The sweets have been the weird thing. That's what's thrown me for the loop, because I'll always, go ham on salty.
Yeah.
And I'll eat the crap out of a meal. But the dessert part I've usually foregone. But whenever I go see my parents, I'm eating their M&Ms, and then my mom always has cookies and baked goods. And
hey, can all of y'all stop leaving your M&Ms out for Carson? Because
these peanut M&Ms,
we're gonna get you back, buddy.
I literally remember this guy that lived down the street. His dad had his foot cut off because he had such bad diabetes, and even in the hospital on diabetes lockdown, they would catch him in the middle of the night at the vending machine. Like, he would have snuck $1 to the vending machine and hobbled to, go get M&Ms or whatever.
Get a little honey bun.
Because he was so addicted to those things. And I have a very addictive nature, addictive personality. And so it just becomes this weird comfort habit where it's like, well, I ate M&Ms last night, so I'm going to have them tonight.
Right.
And so anyway,
yeah, it's tough, dude. On Monday, I had hot Cheetos like at 10 p.m. That was a rough sleeping night, man. My stomach.
It's not the sleep that bugs me. It is the
heartburn.
It is the early morning the next day. And that's why I haven't had a Domino's pizza in 2 or 3 months now, or a pizza of any kind, because it's like I turned this weird corner where the last 5 pizzas that I ate, like the next day was like hell.
On your knees, dude.
Oh, it was hell. Like, I couldn't focus. Acid reflux just out the butt.
Yeah.
Out the butt.
Is this just like getting older? Does it just amount to that, or is there?
That's what I've been thinking. Like,
because I'm like, how do other people our age do this all the time?
Well, and I have had to eliminate the red sauces to a certain extent, but I still obviously do a lot of salsa whenever I'm doing Chipotle and all of this stuff, or real Tex-Mex, a lot of salsa.
Right.
And I can do that if it's 6, 7, 8 p.m. But if I want to go and like get on the border delivery at like 10 p.m., that's going to be a no-go for the next day.
Yeah.
Like, dude, even it is remarkable when I eat Wingstop even, and it's just straight chicken meat and potatoes, and that's it, no dessert.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the next day I wake up, there's no tire. There's flat stomach.
Feeling all right.
I feel cognitively clear. It is incredible how.
So for you, it's that sugar, the sugar intake, got you feeling groggy.
Maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
I think so.
I've tried to eliminate sugar, and
it just makes you sluggish once you get that crash, and then you wake up and you just feel mushy.
I don't know. I've attributed it to the carbs for sure, but
yeah,
maybe it's definitely got to be the sugar and the carbs. And so when I look my best, feel my best, I eat 1.25 meals a day. I usually have a 20 protein gram granola bar at 2 p.m. and then dinner.
Nice.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's how I like to operate.
That's correct.
And I'm doing that on my limited coffee intake. Like, I've definitely drank more coffee at home than I do at work. I was down to 3 cups a day.
Yeah.
At work, and now I'm back up to probably 4 and 5 cups a day.
I'm like 1 a month.
Oh wow.
Maybe.
You're weird.
I think I go years without having at least 12 cups of coffee. Like at the rate I'm going this year, I might not reach 12 cups of coffee.
So what do you look forward to?
Hanging out with you, man. Wednesdays.
Well, that's just sad. No, I very much look forward to the weekly catch up as well, with all the tots, spots, and thoughts out there. Well, I'm gonna keep you updated on all of that. I already drink so sparingly. Like, I was telling somebody the other day, I was like, yeah, I don't. They were trying to tell me that they don't drink like I don't drink, and I was like, yeah, no, that's not the case. Like, right. When I say I don't drink, I mean on one hand for a month often. Like, sometimes it'll be, oh, I haven't drank in 2 weeks, and the last time was a margarita at a Mexican dinner. Just, and then, obviously at the wedding and stuff, there was more. So I'm more of a, are we going to go out and like have a good time, or are we going to accent a meal, or are we just not going to do anything? Because I'm never sitting at home sipping or doing anything like that. So that's a general calorie reducer, but the desserts for me recently have just been the big issue, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know what the deal is.
Yeah, for me it's the chips. So I've been cutting that out. I've been walking or running, well, like walking/running at least 3 miles a day. And I've done a couple of the insanity workouts again, started that back up.
Yeah,
man.
nice.
Yeah, I took 2 pictures. I've been weighing myself a little bit.
You gonna share what you weigh?
Yeah, I will. Just maybe it'll hold me more accountable. But dude, I was the heaviest I've ever been, and like I was upset, dude.
When?
Like a month and a half ago.
Really? The heaviest you've ever been?
Yeah.
Really?
At least heaviest I've ever been, like recorded, like like heaviest I've ever seen myself on a scale. I was 255.
No way.
Yeah,
a
dude.
month ago?
Yeah, right now I'm 245. So I've been putting in work, bro.
I would have never guessed that you're 245.
Yeah, unless my scale's like broken, but I mean, I know I'm a heavy dude. I think I carry it well. But yeah, so working out.
Dude, you
here
carry it way more well than you think. I can't
Maybe.
believe that you're currently 245.
Yeah, it's all in my butt.
Yeah, you do have a trunk on you.
Dude, the black girls in my class in high school call me Booty. They still call me Booty.
Okay.
Shout out Zipporah Gaines. Shout out Brittany Lombard.
Oh, Zipporah went to SWAU, right?
For a bit. I think then she went to Oakwood, and now she's living back here.
Right on.
Yeah. I doubt she'll ever listen to this.
I can't believe you were 255.
Dude,
You're
me
like
neither.
A football player.
I got watery eyed, dude. I was like, dude, this is what happened?
This is my career.
I just stared in the mirror. I was like, stop it. Stop eating.
Wow, that you just carry your weight so much better than I do, because my heaviest that I've ever been recorded was about 203.
Mm-hmm.
And I can go back down. I went from 203 to 160, and then back up to, I think typical walking around weight is somewhere, at various points between 165 and 175 over the last several years. But I definitely like that 10 pounds, man, that 10, 15 pounds. It's like,
it makes a difference. And they say whenever you shed like 10 pounds, it's like 15 to 20 off of your knees. Like it just has that effect, and so it's just so much easier to walk around whenever you just like release that amount of weight. It just makes an exponential amount of difference.
But you'd been working out pretty hard last year when we first started this podcast, or when a couple months in.
Yeah, I guess. But in Maryland was whenever I was really like putting in work, and I was like between 200 and 210. But I was lifting like crazy.
So even at your skinniest, you're still going to be 210 pounds.
At this point, like I tried really hard whenever I was going to school in Tennessee to get under 200. I got down to like 185. But it was like, it was not healthy. It was not healthy.
It's crazy how we carry weight differently, because are we the same height about?
You might have a little.
Do you think so?
I don't know.
I haven't.
But it's.
Well, I think that I'm like 6 3/4 or something like that.
Yeah, I'm probably like
6'1".
On my license, it says 6'1", but I might be like slightly shorter. Okay. Anyway,
that's just so wild. I just, because my mom always is frustrated with me when I'm like 160 or whatever. She always thinks a man should be more beefy. You're more. She'd be more proud of you, I guess.
Well, that's just a given.
Because you take fewer craps and you're still got more weight. So what's wrong with you, Carson?
No, you're great.
But I just, I feel like clothes fit best. I feel most alert and confident when I'm in those 160s, honestly.
Yeah, man.
That just feels good. But my dad is 5'8", and he's the same weight as me when we're in the 160s. But he just carries it differently. And honestly, he probably has more muscle. Like, I'm not a non-muscly I'm not muscly, but in terms of endurance, like I golfed almost 72 holes this weekend. Like I walked 4.5 miles yesterday just in the neighborhood in between conference calls on my little spurts. So my daily average walking around, even on office days, is between 2 and 3 miles. So I don't.
Yeah, you're mobile.
You cannot claim that I lead a sedentary lifestyle at this point in the game. Like I'll look at my health data right now. On average, this month I've walked 3.7 miles a day.
Nice.
Over the last year, I've walked a daily average of 2 miles all year.
That's good.
And I'm looking at some of these, like
get those steps in.
Saturday I did Sunday I did 8.2 miles.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's something that I purposely have to take charge of because, like, I have a very small classroom, so it's not like I'm really walking around my classroom at all times whenever my students are there. And then by the time I'm done, I get dinner, then I shower, and it's like 6, 7 p.m., and I'm kind of wanting to just chill. So I have to be very conscientious about exercising and putting in the work, which I'm sure a lot of people have to do that as well. I'm not saying they don't, but
no, it really gives you appreciation whenever you have a physical situation that you're looking to address, but you can address it with a full mind and a full body capability. Like, there are so many people in the world that have deformities, they have impairments, they have limb deformities or issues from birth that we're not even aware of.
Exactly.
People that have been in horrific accidents, they don't have an arm or a leg or an eye or whatever the case may be. So the fact that, again, we're at the very top of the pyramid of Maslow's hierarchy with self-actualization. We're like, well, our Twitter is getting more engagement for our optional podcast that we do on the side, which is self-actualized. Like I'm always working in that area, which shows how spoiled I am.
Dude, I was that's crazy that you bring this up. Just last night I was listening to my favorite spoken word artist, and this is like the first time I've done that in probably over a year. I had the privilege of seeing him live in New York. His name's Rudy Francisco, and he has this poem called Complainers, and he had a viral video of him giving that, or I guess speaking that poem, go around Facebook, and then he was also on Jimmy Fallon and performed it. But one of the lines is, a lot of people take a look at their glass and see it half empty or half full. Well, at least there's something in it. So drink that ish and stop complaining.
Yeah, man, that's yeah. I mean, we're if you have a running car, you're in the top 5% of wealth in the world.
Yeah.
How crazy, like how much does that make you put things
Mama,
in perspective?
I made it.
Yeah. And I'm over here like, yeah. It's incredible. Like the journey, the leveling up will never end because you'll never have enough. Like you'll never be, you'll never stop improving or iterating on yourself, your career, your projects, all these different things.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's like this fine line of like this balancing act where you want to continue bettering yourself, but you also want to be content with what you have. And so you try not to let, those drives or those dreams consume you, but you also don't want to stay stagnant. No.
I've always let my dreams consume me. In fact, I try to, it's such a wrestling match with myself to have to like really sit down and 5-year, 10-year plan things and be like, I still think I'm growing up and maturing, and like I'm like that moment where all the cameras are clicking and I'm walking that red carpet for what insert occupation here or whatever. That moment is still on the horizon. Like I haven't reached my peak. Like I'm not a fully developed flower yet.
Yeah, but I would I agree with that.
Which is totally crazy because like I'm in it. Like I'm in my career. I'm 30. It's almost like I'm a young man, but I'm not a spring chicken. Like I'm not a bright-eyed pupil that's 20 on their first gig.
You're old.
Shut up. That's why I'm taking all these craps over here, Brad.
I'm going to live forever.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Yo, life alert.
Life alert. Oh man. So can we talk about how scary and alarming it's been to see everybody going around with these masks? Like,
yeah, I
you've
was
been
in Target
Keene,
yesterday, dude.
so I don't know. I feel like in the rural areas it's like
No.
different.
I
But
went to Target yesterday, and this dude and me, like, there's like almost everybody in there has masks, and I'm getting some groceries, and this dude looks at me, and he doesn't have a mask either, and he's like, "Where's your mask?" And I was like, "Ah, bro, they ran out." And he just starts laughing. He's like, "Oh, stay safe." And we're just looking around, and all these kids, like, first of all, Target's not even allowing you to come in like with your spouse. Like, it's like one family member allowed inside. This is in the Burleson and Mansfield locations.
okay.
But there were people, I guess they did allow them to bring their kids in, but their kids are wearing masks too. And I'm just like, and there's arrows pointing for how you should be going down.
They
an
heard
aisle.
you. I went to the City Place Target next to your old place the other day, or yesterday on Operation Toilet Paper, and they had like a cordoned rope. They were like, no, you have to go in this entrance, and then there was like, it was all blocked off. I didn't have free reign to like go the directions in the store that I wanted to initially, and then they had like handlers that were keeping you separate at checkout. And it's also weird because it's like, I'm trying to get past people in certain aisles, but you're also trying not to freak them out because you're like, I don't know how.
Like, I've seen stories of people, yelling at other people for being too close, and I'm like, that ain't gonna be me.
Did you see the 18-year-old girl that got arrested in? I think she was in Frisco or somewhere.
No,
she was. She sent out a group Snapchat or something. She was like, I'm about to go infect these MFers up at the supermarket. And she was up there like licking pears and stuff. And
what an idiot.
Yeah, like they don't have proof that she's tested positive for COVID or anything, but she definitely got her butt arrested.
Good.
And I don't know if it was a joke. Like, you can swat people with COVID now. It's like, somebody got arrested for spitting or coughing in a cop's face the other day.
Yeah.
Which is the same thing that happened in the AIDS epidemic. Like, people, there were stories of that happening in that time period as well. So this is super strange. And the masks, like, it's weird when you see people driving around in their cars and they've got like a gnarly robbery type, like they'll have a skull on a mask and they might have their hood up and you're like, whoa, like every bank heist or terrorist based movie where you see it's like, what was The Town?
Town, dude. With Ben Affleck.
That's what it reminds
Jeremy
me
Renner.
of. That was
if y'all haven't seen The Town.
The Town.
What a great film. There's a lot of language. There's a lot of language if you're not a fan of that.
It's a Boston crime.
Boston the Boston Yard.
We're about to rob the car in the yard.
Are you a cap? Nah, I'm not a cap.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, man.
Do your Peter Griffin voice. But it's scary. And last night, I'm walking with AirPods in on my 18th walk of the day, and there's my neighborhood is very transitional. Like, I live in an old building. Right next to me are like beautiful, like almost $1 million townhouses.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of like residential, but there's also like an LGBTQ resource center down the street, and all the LGBTQ bars in Dallas are also right down the street. So it's like a very hodgepodge area. And I'm not gonna lie, we have users that are around the vicinity of the neighborhood because I live right off Oak Lawn with the public library right there, which is like, the public library is in the parking lot of the Kroger. Mm-hmm. And for whatever reason, it's next to a bus stop, next to the gay strip, next to all the free AIDS testing. And there's just these junkies that are out there sometimes that are coming down. They're, just being crazy and whatever. They're in, bootyless chaps or something while they're tripping with a Kmart, with like a push cart or something from the grocery store. So last night I'm walking, got the AirPods in, and this guy with a mask and long hair like starts coming up to me kind of like out of my blind spot. He takes the mask off and proceeds to initiate a conversation. I take an AirPod out and he goes, "Hey man, have you seen a pill bottle around here?" And I was like, around this part of Dallas? Like, what are you talking about? And I got this really bad energy vibe from him. Looking at his eyes and him, I immediately knew that he was a user, he was a drug user that was a junkie coming down and had misplaced something. I never blame the person, but sometimes I'm like, I don't know what the drugs might make this person do to me in an effort to get cash or to get something they perceive I have or anything. So just the fact that he already taken his mask off to approach me, it was just a very scary situation.
Yeah, I can see that.
That on top of like when I see you alone, or if I see multiple people in a car with masks on, I'm like, you don't have to wear them in your own car, dodos.
Yeah.
Like if you've already all been together and quarantined and you're going somewhere, nobody else has been in your car. So please quit driving with your mask off in the car.
Yeah, be like Future.
Put on Future.
F it, mask off.
Take the mask off while you're driving, because otherwise these cops, you know, based on their profiling that they normally do for like miscreants and people like that, if you just saw a person 6 months ago driving their car with a bunch of skull cap masks on, you'd call the cops. You'd be like, somebody just got robbed. Something happened. But now everybody's doing that.
Yeah, now they're just going out to get granola.
Like monsters have to poop too.
Oh, what else you got, man?
Okay, just been carrying us for.
Whoa, what are you talking
Did you
about?
see that
Brought
Tom
up
Brady
like
was
all
on
of
Howard
these.
Stern this morning?
No,
Well, he was.
and
I don't know. Howard's content has become more paywalled off, and I love his interviews. He's the most gifted interviewer. But I did hear that. I mean, obviously, the big breaking news that ESPN was going off of was, you know, he's commenting on Belichick, and this is going to be great, and blah blah blah.
Nice.
So I don't know. I heard that he had said something to the effect of, you know, in the same way that I wouldn't have been as successful without a coach like Belichick, he wouldn't have been as successful without a quarterback like me. So it's more reciprocal.
Yeah. Right.
That was the main snippet that I'd heard coming out of that interview.
Yeah, and I would agree with that.
I saw that he and Giselle had put out some sort of IG video for, I think it was Doctor Day or Healthcare Worker Day, or didn't something like that just happen?
Sure.
Shouldn't you know that, given who you date? She's like, it's my day.
I celebrate her all the time. I just got her some gifts today.
She's got so many. She's got like Women's Day. She's got Nurses Day. She's got Kids Nurses Day.
Got them all.
Healthcare Worker Day.
Yeah, Columbus Day.
Indigenous Peoples Day. Columbus was a rapist and a murderer. We all know that.
Well, I just said it because, you know, he's white and she's white.
You know what ships he sailed on? The Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria.
Santa Maria.
North America.
Pretty sure
South
Pusha T has a song called Santa Maria that's really good. Anyway.
Dude, that song is the most legit song with Rick Ross.
Yeah.
And that's how the team goes. I'm back from Santo Domingo.
Yeah. Oh, so you know it.
Oh.
Hey, speaking of you not having white Twitter or white Instagram.
No, he goes, I'm still the realist amidst all this pink hair, like talking about the new rap game. Like,
yeah,
dude,
because they all
song
have crazy hair.
I listen to it and like, dude, my nipples get hard. Like I just get goosebumps.
Hey, save that for your Zoom sessions, buddy.
Hey man, I'm on the up and up on Zoom.
Yeah. Okay. So last week we talked about DJ battles. Did you see the battle that happened this past weekend?
No, Brad. I was on white Instagram all week apparently.
T-Pain versus Lil Jon. You missed that?
Oh, I guess I did.
It was insane. Like everybody.
How did I miss two guys from Now That's What I Call Music 24?
You funny. It was really cool.
I'll bet.
Okay.
No. I want to know.
No, bump you, dude.
I want to know.
No,
Tell me.
Next. Okay. You've been carrying this. What's next on your docket?
Shut up. What happened with Who won?
Probably Lil Jon. Like T-Pain had the better. I think he was a better performer. Even though like he played some of his songs live and then the rest he just played like off of his laptop or whatever. But just the way that he was getting like the people on Instagram hype and everything.
What do you mean he played one of his songs live? Was he singing?
Yeah, so some of his songs he was actually singing like on his piano.
Was he auto-tuning or?
No, dude, he has an amazing. Have you not heard him without autotune?
I'm sure I have.
Oh, it's a treat, dude. He's and he's so good.
Well, glad that he didn't sell out.
T-Pain does not need autotune. Autotune needed T-Pain.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
What about Lil Jon? Did he sing?
Lil Jon had like a lot more bangers, man, but he just wasn't as good of a co-host. So he kind of lost points there. But
were they co-hosting together?
Yeah,
so
they were playing songs against each other.
Okay.
Yeah. So like round one, like he played T-Pain played Good Life and Lil Jon played Get Low. And
so they just played their own song?
20 songs. But they introduced new songs. Like Lil Jon came out with a song with him and Usher. And
are they dancing and like on video?
Yeah, they're like hype. They're like, oh, like that was a good song, but watch this, and they're dropping it. And you're making it seem a lot more lame than it was.
No,
you're giving me that.
Didn't go to the party, so I don't know.
You weren't invited.
I wasn't invited. I wasn't even aware.
Oh, man, that was so good.
You can always hook a brother up and send a link over. Be like, hey, when you're done with stocks on white Instagram, this party's lit.
When you're done looking at MeUndies.
I'm not looking at MeUndies on Instagram. Okay. Well, who do I follow on Instagram? I have lots of PGA stuff. NFL. I follow
NHL, all the white sports.
Nope.
Okay.
I'm not into white sports, dude. I'm only into golf and football.
Yeah.
But I don't do baseball too much. I could care less about basketball. Sometimes NHL. It's fun. I love going to all these sports, but no, I don't know anything about those sports anymore.
Yeah.
And PGA is one of the most international fields of any sport ever. FYI.
I'll take your word for it.
All right. You want to dig into my list real quick? I got a Southwestern Admonish University email.
Did you?
Yeah.
What for?
The director of advancement was in a oversized suit from K&G Mid-Suit Supply.
Oh, was he out? Was he out out on campus outside?
No, he was quarantined in the new admin building that we went through.
Who's the dude that we met that you gave your business card to?
The guy I'm talking about.
Dude, well, he also did a video out and about on Southwestern's campus, and he's like, well, it looks like it's a lot more quiet than normal. And I'm like, no, dude, that's like a regular Tuesday. Like if Corona wasn't going on, it would look exactly like that.
It's like, let's be honest. Enrollment was 545 students when we were there. So pick it up. Dude, whenever you did that impression, it reminded me of that little red-haired kid that was on the news that's like, well, I've never been on the news before.
I love that guy.
So,
that's a cute
it's my
kid,
first time being on the news.
Yes.
So, no, he was just in his big preaching jacket within the admin buildings asking for...
And his big and tall?
Yeah. Asking for money.
Oh, okay.
And the other day they sent me an email and I was like, did all of these photos render on any browser or mobile phone? Were they meant to be sent fuzzy? Like, sad. Yeah.
I don't.
So that was that.
I don't know if I have any more gas in the tank as far as lighting them up.
Have you seen that? Speaking of white sports and Latino sports, have you seen that Major League Baseball is talking about having all the games in a stadium like in Phoenix where they have spring training starting in May and just like having quarantine baseball with no fans?
That'd be cool, I guess. Give us something to do.
Alrighty.
Give us something to do.
I feel like we're gonna open up business in the next month. Like,
you think so?
Well, I feel like New York has seen a stabilization. Like, we're definitely seeing a high number of deaths right now.
Yeah.
Because we're at the apex, it looks like. So it's deaths are a lagging indicator of new cases. And so I think new cases diagnosed, like their curve has gone down or flattened. So, and Seattle has definitely gotten things under control. I had a half-hour conversation with a client in Washington today who was like, yeah, thank God for Governor Ainsley and the fact that, we flattened the curve so much that we weren't the epicenter that was,
that's awesome,
under siege anymore. Like, because they were the first epicenter.
Right.
And then New York, like, really took over.
They ramped up.
But we're also talking about with the markets, like, some of these private firms are looking into people that might have already had this or developed herd immunity and have antibodies that can help combat this. because the minute we have like a vaccine or a treatment and or herd immunity, we're good.
Straight. We're good to go.
We're good to go. We'll be on the first train out of Wuhan, on the midnight train to Georgia.
We got vaccines. We can eat all the bats we want.
Where that polygon at? Fry me up a pangolin right quick. Yeah, I'll have a bat stuffed pangolin, please.
Oh, man.
Hold the rice.
Give me those pangolin poppers.
I'll take the pangolin Southwest egg roll, please. No, but with the reduction in the scope of deaths that I mean, how many Americans saw that 60,000 are going to die, realized that what is it? 3 million people die in auto accidents. No, 1 million plus people die in auto accidents every year worldwide. They're gonna be like, let's go back to work, y'all.
Right.
Like, and I wonder. My biggest fear is that some people might think, oh, this was all blown out of proportion.
Yeah.
But I think that our social distancing and taking these precautions is what has gotten us to this spot.
So if we're ever in this mess again, we need to do the same thing because it was a real event.
So I've heard some very credible business people that if the private if these private enterprises come up with a vaccine, if they get these antibodies going in such a way that everything is kind of quick started back with the economy, we all go back to work, and there was no underlying foundational issue with the economy. Like, I think we're all still confident and like excited, and I think that our initiative and our desire to create and to grow and to do all these things post-COVID will be heightened compared to pre-COVID, because we'll just be happy to be out of the house and like be able to go to like a restaurant after work, different things like that. So if we're back to work quicker than expected with more minimal loss than expected, and there's like this new surge behind supporting certain types of businesses, and the demand has never been higher, plus the economy just got $2 trillion injected into it. Some people have talked about the stock market having like a 30% rise in a matter of a week or two.
Yeah.
Because I think the Dow was back up to like 22,000 or something. That's not current today, people, but
right.
I don't remember what it was, but it's been in the green for a couple of days, it looks like. And you might see a big about shift here, a big about face.
When you think the travel ban is going to be lifted? Speculation, you know.
Well, what is the current travel ban?
I don't know. Can we travel?
I think Southwest flies over my house every day.
To out of the country?
Well, I don't know about out of the country. They go to Mexico and certain Caribbean places, but yeah, I don't know about international travel. I haven't been researching that, and I obviously am not about to board a plane domestically unless I absolutely need to right now.
Right.
But I don't know. I know that Dallas has a disaster proclamation through May 20. We have a shelter-in-place mandatory order until April 30. But I don't know if you saw this, but and I've talked about this off the podcast, but do you know who Judge Clay Jenkins is?
No.
So he is a senior judge within Dallas County, and apparently the county's like top elected official, essentially. And he got his hand slapped by the county commissioner board, who basically said that he was making moves unilaterally and like just saying that he had overextended his powers for some of the shelter-in-place restrictions.
In what way?
Like that he hadn't consulted with them on something that he was going to issue as like a proclamation and go to the media with. And so they slapped him with new orders that he has to liaise them, and they have to have ample time to meet and discuss between these like 4 other county commissioner types that are, I don't know, man. The whole point of this conversation is that I keep seeing this judge on TV, and I'm aware of him in the community. It seemed like before coronavirus, he was always calling into shows. He was always on TV, local news. Like, I was like, this guy is in the limelight a lot, and he's not even the mayor. Like, who even knows who the mayor is? Like, the mayor is never. I've never seen the mayor speak on TV. Meanwhile, this guy is on every channel all the time. I was like, what's going on here? I did some research, found out that this guy used to be the Brian Longcar's like fixer, or he was a silent partner or something for Brian Longcar's infamous personal injury law firm.
Okay.
And I know that there was a lot of, potentially shady stuff that was going on there. And I think Brian Longcar died of a cocaine overdose. And so I kept digging into Clay's past because I just said, this guy's too slick. Like, comb over's too perfect. It looks like he's gotten a facelift. He walks a little stiff. And why is he always so available for comment? Like, what's going on here? So I voiced this to a couple people in my personal network, and we did some research, and he had a life harrowing accident back in the day that almost killed him. It like ruptured his spleen, broke down his lung, all these fractures, internal bleeding, and I guess after that it had surfaced that he was in the wrong place with the wrong people doing the wrong things, as he put it. And so that, coupled with his Brian Longcar cocaine associations and all of this, I was like, what is this guy up to? And my cousin sits 2 pews behind him in church every Sunday. And it just commented on some things that he'd observed. And I talked to my mom about this, and we'd done some research, and just something smelled fishy to me. I'm like, is this guy trying to become governor or mayor, or like, what is happening here? So the fact that he's been so front and center, I guess that the chain of command is that a judge within the county has to shelter in place, has to issue that type of proclamation. Like, it's not the mayor that necessarily conveys that information. It's like the top elected judge official.
Yeah.
So I guess that he is that person. But I noticed this behavior prior to this coronavirus pandemic, and after doing the research, seeing his associations, and then seeing that he got this slap on the wrist from others close to him in local government, that he was acting unilaterally and brashly going to the media with things that he hadn't discussed with apparently what they claim to be the proper channels. I'm like, this situation is still unraveling.
Yes.
I think he's a good guy that probably did some things in the past. Like, when you tell me that you were in the wrong place with the wrong people or person, that has hooker written all over to me. I'll just say it. It has hooker and booger sugar written all over it to me. Because otherwise, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
So, nothing confirmed, but look into Clay Jenkins, people. Yeah. I want to know more about him.
You think there was a body missing, or?
Yes.
Okay.
So there's something about a white man years after the fact that I'm like, what frat were you in? Like, whose hazing death did you cover up? Why is Brian Longcar dead of cocaine and you stepped in as acting partner to break that unit down and rectify that situation? Like, if your business partner is a cokehead, do you know about that? Come on.
Yeah, I mean,
come on.
Unless you're like a terrible business partner and like never around,
so
you got to know about that.
I don't know. It sounds like he might have played for the other team before he started sentencing people to jail. I don't know. Not that he was moving drugs or anything like that. You got to assume that Clay Jenkins has done drugs, partied, been around it, and been around some shady, seedy people.
Well, coming to you, Netflix 2025.
Yeah, seriously.
The docu-series. Oh, dude, we need to start going around filming.
Yeah, dude.
Just under the premise of like, hey, like I bet you want to, enter in the political ring. Like, we want to help promote you. We could do it that way. We'll catch him. We're gonna get you.
We're on to you, Jenkins.
What's his name?
Clay Jenkins.
Clay Jenkins.
Judge Clay Jenkins.
We're on to you, buddy.
Yeah. I mean, thank you for your service. But there's something going on there. And I say that, I want to clarify this. This is one player recognizing another player. And I'm not saying that I'm out employing hookers and doing booger sugar and plotting to take over the world. I'm no Frank Underwood.
But he's not saying he's not.
But what I'm saying is that I've also been very critical and cynical of good deeds that I do that I know can benefit me.
Yeah.
Which most good deeds can.
Right.
Is in some way, shape, or form. But I'm always cynical about, I'm doing this, but I know what I get out of it too. So I downplay my own good contributions or my own good spirit about going into a certain situation with Yeah, but because I know the reward that could be reaped from this, like, I'm a piece of crap. You know?
Yeah,
like,
no, I totally get
I'm
you.
very down on myself like that.
Yeah.
So when I see this guy, I'm like, you're too squeaky. Something's wrong. Like, I recognize what you're doing. And, you know, who doesn't want to be president?
Where's the poop?
Where's the poop? How many rolls of toilet paper do you think Clay Jenkins goes through?
Quite a bit, buddy.
Can we talk about the fact that we only have like 15 Twitter followers, but we got 25 poop votes? Like,
oh, yeah.
I've talked about these low-key stalkers that listen to the show. They engage. They have conversations with you to your face, and they'll never tell you that they've listened to an episode. But they're voting on our poop cycles.
Little listening toms. Just hiding behind your headphones.
They're peeping on the podcast. Little Bo Peep. Let's just end this.
Okay.
Shout out to Shelly. We were on a group Zoom the other day, and she said something so sweet that I wanted to share with you. Okay. She was like, please keep making these episodes, because she was like, it's literally one of the only routine things that's getting me through quarantine.
Whoa.
She said I had to shut down the business. I had to do all this stuff. I'm cooped up. You know, she's escaped to the lake a time or two with her dog for a walk, but otherwise she's baking bread like all these other white girls. Like, right. I am so sick of white people baking bread. Get that stuff off my timeline.
Yeah,
I
something
don't.
Else.
That is the new.
Like, the TikTok dances off.
It's the new Prius. It's the new status symbol of like, look at us, we're so responsible, and like, quit baking bread, quit posting about your bread. That being said, she did say like, we are an institution that she was hungry for new content after the last podcast. Bell. So big shout out to Shelly Belly, as I've always called her.
What a sweetheart. We love you, kid.
So that's my main shout out for the week.
Throwing shade to all the kids that are making their parents dance in these videos. That I'm tired. I don't know how many more weeks I can take of this.
TikTok is having more daily active users than.
But the problem is, I don't even use TikTok. I just see those videos then being reposted on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So I can't avoid it. Can't avoid it.
Me too. Same.
I'm tired. Shout outs.
Nobody.
Yeah, man.
You got nothing.
Shout out to us, man.
Wow.
We're holding it down.
I'd like to congratulate myself.
That's right.
But first of all, I'd like to thank myself.
No, shout out to everybody that has been engaging on Twitter. It was a pretty fun week. So I appreciate you guys.
Who thanked themselves in their Hall of Fame induction speech?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, we'll look that up. Yeah. It's a great time for classic sports. Like, we're going to get to rewatch the 1996 Masters this weekend, because it should have been Masters weekend. R.I.P. Shout out.
Yeah, I hear MMA might continue on with their fights.
They are next Saturday.
Yeah.
Dana White was on today. They're going to do it spectatorless. I don't even know if they disclosed the location or if it's private or what that situation was, but they've got a pretty good, what is it called? Top card, or I know it's the undercard and the main card or whatever.
Yeah.
But all some events going on out there cringing, listening to me.
Yeah.
I'm like, who beats on who? All right. Well, that's it then.
Yeah.
That's your podcast for the week, people.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right. We'll catch you up next week.
All righty.